So in section 6.1 to 6.3, we are learning about solving inequalities. All three sections we're going to cover right here. So inequality, we have to know the inequality symbols that we're going to be using. And the first one is less than. And the words for less than could be less than or fewer than. And this is the symbol. When we are graphing a number with less than, so we're going to graph x is less than -1. These are all going to be graphed on a number line. So I'm going to show you 0 on the number line and then -1. And the symbol for less than is going to be an open circle. And since it's x is less than -1, we always want the x to be on the left of the equation when we're graphing it, and the less than symbol is pointing to the left, so that means we are going to be shading to the left. Less than -1 is an open circle and shaded to the left. Open circle, shade left. The symbol for greater than is this symbol. The other words are greater than or more than. X is greater than 2. I'm going to put 0 on the number line and 2 and an open circle, and it is pointing to the right, so we are shading to the right. So greater than is shade to the right, and just plain greater than is an open circle. Now we're getting to the words less than or equal to, which is this symbol, less than or equal to. We're going to have to know eventually that this is also the words at most are the same as less than or equal to. The words no more than, also the same. So x is less than or equal to -2. Here's my 0, -1, -2. Now I am going to use a filled in circle. So when it's less than or equal to, it's going to be a filled in circle. And as you use more ink to make the symbol of the equal sign down below, less than or equal to, you'll use more ink to fill it in. And it's going to the left. Less than or equal to, filled in circle, and to the left. Greater than or equal to is also the words at least and no less than. Greater than or equal to -3. I have 0, -1, -2, -3. Again, I'm going to have a filled in circle for greater than or equal to, and it's pointing to the right, so I'm going to shade to the right. So, down below, a review of the words. Greater than or equal to looks like this. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to. And which symbols require the open circle, less than, or greater than. Now as we start to graph the inequalities, first we have to solve them and then graph them. In other words, in this first one, I'm going to have to get D alone first. I'm working this as if I had an equal sign there and doing it the same way. So getting D alone first means I'm going to add 2. As I add 2, I end up with D is less than or equal to 3. And now I'm ready to graph it. I put a closed circle on 3, and I'm shading to the left. Now number 2, I also want to solve and get x alone, but notice that x is on the right hand of the equation, which is going to cause an extra step. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides and get 2 is less than or equal to x. But please note that in this problem, or any time you end up with x on the right, before you go to graph it, you're going to rewrite it and write it and read it backwards. So starting from the x, I have the open part of the symbol next to x, and so it is x is greater than or equal to 2. As you read that backwards, it's x is greater than or equal to 2. And now it shows us which way to graph it. So I always want you to graph it first by make sure that you get the variable on the left by reading and writing backwards. Now we put a closed circle on 2, and we're going greater than or equal to. For number 6, I'm going to solve by, number 3, I'm going to solve by adding 5 to both sides. I get 11 less than or equal to t. I'm going to read it and write it backwards. T greater than or equal to 11. I'm going to make my own number line. All I need is to have 0 here. Positive 11 is going to be to the right of it. It's an open circle. Let me go to blue. It's an open circle, and it's shading to the right. Number 4, I'm getting W alone by subtracting 9. I now have W is less than negative 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got the variable on the left, so everything's good. I'm putting 0 here. Negative 13 is way to the left of it. Have an open circle and less than, so I'm shading to the left. Now for this next part, this is a huge thing that we have to remember. When multiplying or dividing by a negative number, when multiplying or dividing by a negative number, you must change the direction of the inequality. So you must change the direction of the inequality. So this is only when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. So in my first example here, in order to get x alone, I need to divide both sides by negative 2. I call these red flag problems. So every time you multiply or divide by a negative, I'm going to say it's a red flag. Red flag just tells me that as I'm solving it, I'm going to have to change the direction of the inequality. So x is now going to be greater than negative 4. And then that would be my answer, and I would graph this. For my second example, negative 1/2 x is greater than 4. In order to get x alone, I need to multiply by negative 2, both sides. So again, I'm multiplying by a negative, which makes it a red flag problem. This would now be x is less than or equal to 8. So notice in this next problem, erase this for now, 2x is greater than negative 4. To solve this one, I'm dividing both sides by 2. That's a positive 2. It's not a red flag, so x would be greater than negative 2. And to solve this next one, I'd be multiplying by 3. Not a red flag, I'm just multiplying by a positive, so x is less than or equal to negative 18. Now we're going to work these problems, and we're going to graph them. In the first one, number 5, in order to solve, I'm dividing both sides by negative 3. That is a red flag problem. I'm dividing by a negative. I would end up with n less than or equal to positive 8. Graphing, it's a negative 24 over negative 3, so it is a positive 8. Graphing, I'm going to put 0 here, 8 here. The line under it tells me that it's a filled-in circle less than or equal to. Number 6, getting a alone, divide both sides by 6. Not a red flag problem. A is less than negative 7. 0 here, negative 7. That would be an open circle and shade to the left. Number 7, getting x alone, I'm going to have to multiply both sides. Let me rewrite it. I have to multiply both sides by negative 2. Negative 2 over 1 or negative 2. That is a red flag problem. I'm multiplying by a negative. So I have x greater than or equal to negative 10. Here's my 0, and do always show me where 0 is. Negative 10 we know is to the left. This is a filled in circle, greater than or equal to the shaded to the right. Number 8, in order to solve, I'm multiplying both sides by positive 5, not a red flag. I get negative 2 greater than a. To graph it, I need to read it and write it backwards. The pointy side is by the a, so a is less than negative 2. 0, negative 2, open circle, and less than, to the left. Number 9, I need to, 5 is greater than 1/5 a. To solve it, I need to multiply both sides by positive 5, not a red flag. 25 is greater than a. To graph it, I need to read it and write it backwards. A is less than 25. 0, 25. Open circle, shade to the left. Number 10, negative 2/3 b less than or equal to 8. In order to solve this, I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 3/2. I have to multiply by the reciprocal. I'm going to make this 8/1 times negative 3/2. I am multiplying by a negative. That is a red flag problem. That's going to give me b greater than or equal to, let's see, it's going to be 24/2, and it's going to be negative, and 24/2 is 12. So greater than or equal to negative 12. Here's 0, here's negative 12. I need a filled in circle, and b is greater than or equal to is shaded to the right.